Hello, my name's Christine. I've been a patient here at the Royal Derby since 2000. I was diagnosed with lupus, and as a result my kidneys failed. I was on hemodialysis from 2006, so that's nearly just over 5 years, and then I got the call for a transplant. When I was originally diagnosed with kidney failure, I felt it was a death sentence. I thought, that's it, my life's over. I just stopped functioning. Everything just shut down. I just didn't know what was happening. I didn't understand what kidney failure meant. I'd heard the words dialysis before, but it was just something you hear somebody's on dialysis. It didn't really mean it. The words didn't really impact till I was diagnosed and told that I needed to go on dialysis in order to live. It was a shock to the system. Coming here 3 times a week, spending 4 hours on the machine dialysing. I felt my life was over. It was on hold. I was just existing from one dialysis session to the next. Then the dialysis started to work. I didn't realise, but slowly I started to feel better, and then I realised just how bad I had been feeling when I started to feel better, and I started to be able to do things. I also found I needed to make peace with the diagnosis. I needed to find some level of acceptance, and in time that came. And once that came, I felt I was able to look at life and live a life around dialysis. Once that happened, I started to look at things that I was doing before my diagnosis. I was partway through a degree. I just got my final year to do, so I decided to use my time on dialysis to research and complete the last year, which I did. So I used to bring my books in and do assignments and research different topics. So the graduation was after a dialysis session. So I came here in the morning, dialysed, and then went straight on to the graduation ceremony. Being diagnosed with kidney failure, it didn't just affect me, it affected my whole family. I've got 2 children who were still in school at the time, so 3 times a week they'd come home from school, a taxi would pick me up and take me to dialysis, and then when I'd come back, they'd be in bed. So I missed a huge chunk of their lives. We had to adapt, so I'd get tea ready, then I'd go off to dialysis, but there wasn't the time to sit and chat and find out about how their day had been. So it's the days I wasn't on dialysis, we had to make the most out of that and just make the most out of the precious time we did have together. I say it affects the whole family. Holidays, we couldn't just get up and go on holiday. It meant we had to find dialysis. I always say we because it's all of us. It's not just me, it's my whole family. It had to be somewhere where I could dialyse, and I had to be happy with the dialysis unit I was going to. So that was 3 days out of the holiday I would be on dialysis, and my husband would be doing things with the children. There was also the spontaneity goes out of life. You can't just get up and go somewhere. You've got to plan around coming into hospital and your sessions. I did Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So as soon as I finished on a Friday morning, I used to do the morning sessions. That was my weekend. So we made the most of that when I started to feel better, and we'd just go away for the weekend. So it was able to have I was able to have a life around dialysis. I got my call for the transplant while I was on dialysis. It was a Friday, and I'd come in just like any other Friday, and my phone went while I was having my needles put in, And I thought it'd just be my son ringing me, because he normally did in the morning on his way to work. And I checked it was an answer phone, so I checked it, and I thought, oh, it's Nottingham, why are they ringing me? So I rang, and it says, I listened to the message, and it says, we think we've got a kidney for you. So I started shaking, and I just gave the phone to the nurse, and I said to her, my nurse who was looking after me, and I said, can you take this call for me, please? And it was very emotional, because I knew at the back of my mind somewhere, I'd got the call for a kidney, but I knew somebody had died, and that was it was very real. And to know that in my excitement, there's a family grieving there, but they were brave enough to make that decision to say that their loved one's organs could be donated. Rang my husband, and he thought something had happened to me on dialysis, because that was quite normal for, things go wrong, fistula bursts, or it packs up, and you get the phone call, and can you bring my bag? I've got to stay in. So he says, oh God, what's happened? I says, I've had the call. So there was lots of tears on the ward, tears from my husband, and went off to Nottingham. And I had to wait a while they had to do some tests there to see whether the kidney was a good enough match for me. So I think I got there, it must have been about 7 hours before they told me that yes, everything was okay and it was going ahead. It went ahead, and thank God, 4 years on, everything's going well. So just going from strength to strength, enjoying life. I've become a granny since I had my transplant. So I've got 2 grandchildren. I look after them 2 days a week, which I wouldn't have had the energy to do before. So every day's precious. Every day's precious. I never forget my donor. I never forget how blessed I am to have received my transplant. So. The biggest thing is time, is having time together to enjoy being a family. My children have got their mum back. My husband and I we're a proper couple now. We're able to go out and just do things when we want, and it's enjoying my house. From the time we moved house, and not long after moving, I was diagnosed with lupus, so I'd been ill from 2000 up until 2011. So just to be able to sit in my house and enjoy it, and little things like that. Fluid restrictions is a huge thing. To be able to have a cup of tea when I want one. I'd rather have a cup of tea than alcoholic drinks. So for me, the big thing was to just be able to sit with a pot of tea and pour one after another, and be able to drink that. But to just say, right, shall we do this? Shall we do that? Shall we go here? And not having to think about things. And yeah, that was the biggest thing. And yes, I have to be very aware. Keep on top of the medication. Make sure that I'm always well stocked up. That I've got plenty of tablets in stock, especially when holidays come, like Christmas, Easter, whatever. That when chemists shut down and everything seems shut down, always make sure you've got a good supply. Take my medication regularly, and just be aware of my own body and my own health. If I've got any niggles, I know I can ring up the unit. There's always somebody there at the end of the phone who will advise me. If I'm worried, I can come in. So there's a very good support network here. So they advise me on, it's just me knowing my limitations, knowing what I can and can't do. My immune system is suppressed, so being very aware of who I'm around. Little children with colds, and children have always got spots and all sorts. So it's common sense, but also listening to the advice I'm given in clinic. My understanding of the project is It's to empower patients. It's the patients working alongside the clinicians, sharing information and just getting a better understanding of our treatment, to be able to communicate our concerns and having them listen to us and just working together as a team. I think it's really important to have a good rapport with the medical staff. So I think if you understand each other, the treatment can work better. You're more inclined to listen to what the medical staff are saying if you feel that they're listening to you and your concerns.